There is a formula, a method that exists. And with this formula, this method, you can achieve anything you want that is within the realm of possibility to achieve. Obviously, due to the laws of the universe, there are some things that are out of the realms of possibility for you to achieve, and in such cases, there are no methods or formulas you can use to achieve the impossible. For example, no matter how much you may want to sprout wings and fly like a bird, it's just not going to happen, but it is within the realms of possibility for you to design some jetpack-type device to achieve personal flight. Here, there are two important points to consider when setting the goals you want to achieve. First, the goals need to be realistic, based within the bounds, within the law of reality. Second, there can be different ways to get to the end you want. So if it turns out to be impossible to achieve your goals when walking one path, is there another path you can walk down to get to your goal? Now, while setting goals, planning, being realistic, and work are all important aspects for achieving what you want, and we will talk about this type of stuff later in the book, they are not the formula. To achieve anything, you just need two things. And if you can obtain these two things, you will achieve whatever it is that you want. So the formula to achieve whatever it is that you want is available for the low price of only $49.99 plus shipping. Sorry, just kidding. Tell you what, all you need to spend for this golden nugget is a little time. Do all the social media things you can do to swing the algorithm in our favor, and we will call it even. Deal? Okay? Okay. The formula is actually summed up as the way and the will. If you are able to, whether through luck or hard work and planning, obtain the way and the will, you will achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. It may be making a cup of tea, getting a promotion at work, or getting through the day. If you want to achieve it, you need the way, which is the method, the set of things to do in order to make the thing you want to happen actually happen. This is the way. You also need the will, the drive to actually carry out the way, to achieve the cup of tea, the promotion, or making it through the day. To achieve anything you want, you need both the way and the will. It's not an either-or kind of deal, it's a both kind of deal. If someone has the way but not the will, then while they may hold the knowledge of a method to achieve what they want, they lack the ability to take that knowledge and put it into action. On the other hand, if someone has the will but not the way, they can be driven to action to try to achieve what they want. But without knowledge of the way to do what is needed, their efforts will fail to produce the desired result. The formula for achieving is the way and the will. Obtain knowledge of the method for how to achieve what it is you want, and the drive to get out and do it, and you will get it. Simple as cause and effect. This idea can be applied to whatever it is you may want to achieve. Literally anything. Just think about it. Start trying it out. It really is great. Now, we could finish this off here. We have given you the secret. All you need to do is follow it and you will be right. Can achieve whatever you want, but wait, there is more. Because we are feeling generous, we will throw in a good perspective, or roadmap, if you will, of how to cultivate and maintain mental health. I hope that more astute of you see where this is going. If you want to achieve anything, you need the way and the will, so the rest of this work is going to be about the way and the will to mental health. It is interesting when you think about it that each of us is actually legit walking around with a supercomputer, an amazing information processing system embedded into this fleshy matter energy processing system we call a body. Yet as a modern society, with all our amazing technology and scientific knowledge about the world, we seem to know so little about the thing that is most common to all of us, the mind. Considering that the mind is associated with literally everything we do, say, or think, it is in no way a stretch to say that mind is the most important thing to any human being. Given this importance, we really ought to have some sort of manual, like when you get a car or a new cell phone, a little book comes with it that tells you what needs to be done to keep it doing what you want it to do. That is what we need, a handbook for the mind, for mental health, some guide as to what we need to do to keep this information processing thing doing what we need it to be doing for us and unto others. We believe that mental health is not a luxury for the rich, that it is a human right, and that the knowledge needed to cultivate and maintain mental health is a basic necessity for modern human beings, as basic as literacy and numeracy. This work is designed to be that handbook, a guide to help you figure out how best to cultivate and maintain mental health, to spark your drive for self-sovereignty. The core of this work is not really new in nature. There is a lot of information about this perspective that has been around for thousands of years. It has just been repackaged with modern ideas and referenced with science. Remember that you are the ultimate authority when it comes to your life. You decide what you bring in close to yourself, and you decide what to reject. Question everything. If you don't already question everything, then start on this work and make that mindset default for processing new information. The goal is not rejection of information. It is about you not blindly believing things. It is about you developing and holding an idea of what is good, and then you assessing your experiences as fully as you can by looking at the information from as many angles as possible. Who, what, where, how, and why. With why last, because it is the most fun. And while you are doing this questioning, assessing the world as you are experiencing it, you are always open to changing the way you process, modifying the way you think, and adapting your very self if your tools for exploring reality show you something different to what you had previously believed. Now, let's look at the idea of mental health. To put a fine point on it, mental health is about human beings making good decisions. The term mental refers to our mind, which is part of our information processing system. You will learn a lot about systems here, as systems are the best way to view reality. And information processing is the cause of our reactions, with our reactions being the emotional, sensory, language state of mind and our physical behavior. We will go over this in more detail later. Making good decisions is producing good reactions. This is how we assess the health. Are they bad or good reactions we are producing in our head or with our body? Making good decisions has a lot to do with our conscious information processing and the software we have developed to measure the quality of our decisions, the self. More than this, though, because we want to make good decisions in reality, we need to reference the decision-making software, the self, with reality. Taking this into account, then, mental health is about how well your self aligns, is in harmony, balance, or lockstep with the order inherent to our universe. We are going to introduce a term, natural existence, which is a description of the universe without humans, without life. And we will show you the unfolding of natural existence, the solidification of world after world to make up this physical universe. And all this unfolding, this natural existence, is defined in terms of systems. You will be left understanding that all worlds in the unfolding universal existence are defined by systems, and these systems, whatever the layer of existence, be it quantum or physical, all systems are made of individuals that have relationships which are predictable, describable in terms of law. In other words, you will come to embrace that there is an order to natural existence. You, our species, life is part of, born of, we feed from natural existence. I am a human-shaped lump of natural existence, so it makes sense that when our information processing becomes detached from the natural world around us, we start to get a bit crazy, start making some bad decisions, producing unhealthy, sensory, emotional, language contents of mind and behavior. If we want to make good decisions in reality, we need to have good information about reality, and our dominant human societies have been rather detached from reality for some time now. We get told of all these various social problems via the news and government. Bet you could name some in your head right now. When we consider that all our problems come from the human mind, it is clear that our species only faces one problem, and that is a mental health problem. Okay, so we have identified the problem. We make rubbish decisions, and all of us are responsible for this, as you will come to see. So it is your duty, it is my duty to put in some effort to make things right. The reason we make poor or bad decisions is because our decisions are not based on a good perspective of reality. Whether that stems from a lack of knowledge, ignorance, or overpowering emotional drives and fantasy stories, well, that comes down to your bespoke self, which is grown through experience with other humans and people. The cool thing is that although we are uniquely our own self, each of us share the common reality that we all witness sensory contents within mind. We all have emotional responses within our body, and we all have our own internal chatter which can be used as an indicator of the nature of our own self. By learning about the common aspects of self, the neural conceptual structure of the self, you can find ways to manage, to edit, to reprogram aspects of yourself. If you want to learn about the feedback loop of the mind and are willing to carry out certain practical exercises, you will be able to consciously program or shape your own self for good. The one thing we're going to have to understand if we want mental health, and this is the one thing that is going to enable different cultures and nations of human beings to get along, and that one thing is a universal measure of quality. If we want mental health, and it should be noted that health is a term of quality on the scale of bad to good, if we want mental health, we need to make good decisions. But as we are all individual, have different experiences, different emotional responses, we have different ideas of good based on our own self, our own subjective perspective. Until now, we have dealt with this problem by following what other humans or groups have said or say is good. But this is problematic too. We are then just following a larger subjective perspective, and we still have the problem of different groups having different measures of quality. And when large groups fight, we get large horrors committed. Many atrocities have been committed in the name of good humans. To move forward in our personal and social evolution of self, we need to overcome subjective divisions. We need to overcome our ego, but we can overcome this because we have tools such as science and philosophy, and we can look to the universe itself at the order that underpins everything and use that as the basis for our concept of good. We can define a universal measure of quality and use it to make good decisions for our own mental health and apply the same ideas for our social decision-making for the good health of our society. So, for our own mental health, we want to look beyond the subjective human, the ideologically derived measures of what is good, to look outward and beyond and learn about the reality we all share, to find an idea of what is good based on the order of natural existence, the universe itself. While expanding your perspective of the world, the universe, while expanding your perspective of everything, is an important part of self-growth. Gathering information as its own end, though, is in itself not a good way to cultivate nor maintain mental health. A good path to mental health involves both gathering good information about this existence we all share and developing the ability for good management, good control of, or precedence over our own personal subjective experiences. You want to learn about the world, but you also want to be able to apply that knowledge in your everyday decision-making process. You want a good perspective of reality to shape the foundation of yourself so that yourself tends toward making good decisions in reality. What you want is self-sovereignty. This is the way and the will for cultivating and maintaining mental health. Going forward, the coming chapters will start with a few focusing on the way to mental health. One chapter exploring the self and systems of life, one looking at why you want to be a philosopher and the science delusion that is causing a quality crisis and what we can do to move on. Then we get to the meat of this perspective. We spend a chapter looking at the unfolding of our universal existence from the initial singularity to now, the unfolding of systems, inherent law, so that we can apply these patterns to define an objective measure of quality, an idea of what is good and bad based on the universe itself. We finish off the first part of this book by spending a chapter exploring a good idea, a good path to cultivate and maintain mental health. Think of it as taking the theory of the previous chapters and putting it into a practical method, something you can put into action and focus on for cultivating and maintaining mental health. The second part of the book begins by addressing the other side, the yin to the way's yang. So yes, the will to mental health is feminine in nature. We shall spend a chapter looking at just what will is, and because our will is actually a number of things in specific relationship, we have a modified analogy from the Bhagavad Gita so that we can better picture the parts, how they fit together, and what we can do to get the control of our system that is necessary for self-sovereignty. We then spend some time looking at how we can train or develop will, and just as we work out to develop the strength of our body, We need to work out to develop the strength of our mind. And just like lack of use makes our muscles weak, lack of use makes our mind weak. But we are going to show you that you don't need to take time out of your day, especially for mental health training. There are things you can bring into your everyday life, so you're not doing anything extra except for remembering to keep perspective and focus. And there are things you can do to your physical environment, your home, car, workspace, to help you remember. The third chapter in the will section of this first book looks at using mindfulness ideas and techniques blended with knowledge of our information processing system and especially the feedback loop between our brain and mind to share some ideas of how to identify aspects of your own self and how to rewire a self that has fallen out of harmony with the order of natural existence. Something like how to use language to reprogram yourself for good. The rest of the first book will be thoughts on practical applications, some interesting associated ideas, and a final wrap-up of this journey to cultivate and maintain mental health through understanding the order of natural existence. As alluded to, this is the first book of 3, so we will provide some insight about the nature of the next book when we have enough subscribers. While this is a passion project, we could do so much more if we didn't have to do other work to pay the bills, so please subscribe and, most importantly, share. Please hold in your mind that this is not a be-all and end-all work. This is not the final product. With this topic, there is no one definitive answer. They are just the best answers we can hold with the information we currently have. As we learn and grow and develop our perspective, we may come to see things in a different light, but for now, with what we know, reality looks a certain way. As a consequence, this work will be a kind of living document, and we encourage anyone who wants to put in their 2 cents or $100 or however much you want to put in, please feel free to contribute. The first thing you can do for this work is to question everything. Please think about the information, get to know it, and try and understand it. If you are unable to reconcile any piece of this work with what you know to be true and good, let us know. Describe your perspective so we can discuss it and together evolve our ideas to be one step closer to the order of natural existence.
This update contains important information that may resolve any cognitive and/or data processing issues you may be experiencing. Allow this firmware bundle to completely download, decompress, and install prior to any extreme reboot or restart of your